Welcome back to Taste Bud Therapy with your kitchen chef, Al P. We're going to be making another good juicy one today. Today we're going to be making black eyed peas. I think everybody likes black eyed peas. So we're going to be making a nice black eyed peas full of flavor. It's going to be buttery. So stay tuned and enjoy yourself. After seeing this one, you're going to want to get the recipe. Okay? Let's go ahead and pull out all the ingredients. List here. So black eyed peas is what we're making. We're going to be making our vegetable medley, or blending our vegetables together. Our onions, our bell peppers, our habaneros. Now these weren't hot. I got a batch that really wasn't hot, so I put in, and if I need more heat, I go ahead and I throw in some chili peppers as well. That's for the blend. We're also going to be adding some shrimp. Some shrimp Maggi or bouillon. So you can really get this shrimp in any brand, I think, you know. I just got this brand. But yes, that shrimp is good. It's definitely going to give your food much flavor. We're going to be using 4 of these for our blend mix. We're going to be using 1 of these regular Maggi bouillons that has iodine in it, and iron to add up flavor. We're going to be using black pepper. Black pepper is very nice to bring up the taste of the black eyed peas. And the complete seasoning, we're going to use as needed. Okay, what else is there? Now we have these little guys. In my country, I'm not sure what they call them. We use this in another dish called palm butter, and it gives an amazing taste in palm butter. So one of the things about this is a spice. One of the things about this spice, it definitely has a nutty and smoky flavor. So I want to experiment with this one. Put in maybe 1 or 2 because it's very powerful. I don't want it to overtake the dish. So maybe 1 and see how that goes. And if I'm liking what I'm getting as an undertone, I'll add some more. Okay, now for our meats, the last dish that we made, we ended up having meat that we didn't use. So I went ahead and froze these meats. I just took it out the freezer. Now for our other meats, this is fresh neck bones, pork neck bones, and this is smoked pork. So we're going to be adding this as our meats into the dish. So first I'll start by blending this. I'll heat up the red oil. I'll cut up the herring, place that in the red oil, put my vegetable mix as well in that same oil. Get that to a nice heat. Once I like the flavor that's created, then I'll add my black eyed peas and all my meats that need to simmer for a long time in a lot of water, and just let it simmer down. You know, it's going to take a while to simmer down and really catch that flavor. Once it's towards the end, I'll put the meats that's already cooked in there. So let's get started. Let's begin. Now, you know, with these vegetables that I cut up, really you can add other flavors that you might really like. Certain vegetables, you know, celery. You can add that. I think I will actually get some celery in here. Just add to the flavor. Let's get some celery and garlic, minced garlic and olive oil, but usually I don't really like to buy the one in oil. The regular one is just fine. And this is such a good buy. So much garlic for such a good price. So always make sure you wash your vegetables. grubby hands. It's been around them. Okay, we are cooking. Look at that. It looks like it's almost meaty. So what we have in here so much, let me turn this down so we can discuss our ingredients. So what we have going on in here is our red oil. We put our vegetable mix in there, and that celery was spot on. That celery added so much flavor. I took about half of one of these and I dropped it in the blender with the vegetable mix, and that also popped the flavor. Then the color's coming from the tomato paste. I took some tomato paste, dropped it in there like so. A little more than that. I took about a teaspoon, right? About this much. It's so thick, you just, all you do is you put your spoon on it and you work it in. You work it in, you work it in, you work it in until it works itself into the gravy, right? And those dots you're seeing now is black pepper. I took some black pepper and added that in there. Okay. So we are looking good. Let's check our flavor. Very nice. So the black pepper, it feels like it brought the flavor down, but be very careful adding too much salt. I always say this. This is a really great seasoning. A little bit goes a long way. We already knew that our flavor was really good from this mix, so you really don't need salt. A little bit goes a lot, and the fact that we have peppers in there and you're cooking it in oil, a lot of times when you're cooking things in oil, it almost masks the salt. So never just taste something cooking in oil or frying in oil and then say, oh no, it's not enough seasoning, because a lot of time it gets masked. Alright, so we got our beans in. Let's stir that around. Get it coated with all this sauce. Very good. Very good. Now I'm going to put my ham hocks in there. So make sure you rinse everything first. Okay. So these are some big pieces of meat, but I want this to boil all the way down until this meat starts to fall off its bones. So I am going to submerge. Submerge this pot. I want these meat to fall off the bones in here. Now the way this is looking, let's see how that goes. I always like to know the flavor at all points. So we'll cover that up and we'll let that cook. I'm going to turn it down to, this pot really cooks things quick. So I'm going to turn it between 6 and 8 on my stove. Alrighty. See there, folks? There's that pot boiling away. Boiling, 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 boiling away. It's going to boil. Let it keep boiling. Let it stay on. Let it keep boiling, boiling, boiling. Get all that meat tender and knock all those beans down. Alright. So our beans has really cooked down, because you can tell when you start to get about half still looks like beans and half has kind of disintegrated down and made like a thick broth, a thicker broth. So I've taken most of the water that was out of it because I don't want it to completely lose all of the beans that's there. I've put the other meats that was already cooked in here, took all the broth out, placed it in with my ham hocks and my neck bones, and I'm gonna pressure cook this to get this soft fall off the bone, and then drop that back in there and finish the process. Okay. So this is off. Now this is on. See you in a bit. So that's still steaming, but what I did was put a little more oil in my beans. I want it to be nice and coated in that oil. Okay. It's looking good, but I'm gonna keep it going just to really get it to fall off the bone. See, that water was up to here. Now it's down there. So I wanted to dry out more. So as soon as I put it back in there, it's a done deal. And to really get it to fall off the bone. All right. Look at this here. Look at this here. Now that's cooked down. See it? It's coming right off. Soft. Perfect. Now, and it extracted so much fat from the meat. Nice. Really, really, really nice. Now I want to put it back in here. Now what I probably shouldn't do is add this much oil. This shrimp. Should have just waited. Sometimes you do that. You're like, oh, you're looking at it and you're like, oh, it needs this, it needs that. But honestly, you should have just waited. Try to take some of the fat away. Let's see. Let's try to trim it down just a little bit. Let's take some of this fat on the side here. You know what? I'm thinking about, like, what can I put this beautiful fat in? Bean broth. Just marry it. There we go. There we go. Now, perfect. Absolutely perfect. Perfect. Needs nothing else. I'll put it back on just to make sure it's married. Leave that on for a little bit. I don't want to dry it out too much because my husband likes to have the liquid still available in there. I'm just putting some of that broth back in there. But that's nice. I need to think of what can that be put in. Making the beans, the biggest thing is get you some smoked meat. Start off with the broth that I always start off with. And make sure you cook it all the way down till it falls off the bone, until it releases everything in there into your dish to make those beans nice and buttery. Okay? And you will have an amazing dish. I'm gonna let it sit. So, what are the biggest takeaways of making the beans? Start off right, because they always say, you know, the first thing you put in, the last thing you taste. So, you want to have that flavor. Make sure your beans and the meats that's going in your beans has a chance to really cook all the way down and release its fats into the meal. So what that meant was, and however it is you need to do that, do it. So what that meant for me was I had to take the meats out, put it in my pressure cooker, and allow it to cook all the way down so I didn't lose all my beans. Okay? And that broke it down. That broke the fats down in it. Created a thicker, nice buttery broth that I was able to transport back into my beans. Okay? So that's it. Happy cooking.